Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sophie Waddington and on this channel we talk about all things manifestation and mindset. So if you've not already subscribed, please go and click the button now. So today I'm going to share with you something that I think is an absolute game changer in moving you towards your vision and bringing you more success in your everyday life. And that is closing the gap between having an inspired idea and executing on it. We get so many incredible ideas all the time, especially when you are tapped into your intuition, when you are connected, when you are feeling in alignment, when you're doing things like meditation, connecting with your vision. You are given these incredible ideas, and sometimes they don't always make sense, but they feel exciting and we feel pulled towards them. I know that you will have experienced this yourself when you get an idea and you get so excited and you're like, oh my God, this is the best idea ever, and you're absolutely lit up about it and you really, really want to do it right now. But then you think, well, I'll come back to it later. I'll write it in the notes app on my phone. And then you open the notes app up afterwards and look at it and you think, it's not like that inspiring now. And it's because the moment has passed. When we have an idea, we've got to execute on it straight away, or it loses its power and it loses that excitement that goes with it. Most of us follow a path of logic, but if we all tuned into our intuition and listened to our inner guidance and what it's telling us to do, those intuitive pulls and that feeling of excitement, which doesn't have to be like typical excitement, it can just be like a feeling of pull towards something, then we would be able to reach our goals so much faster because the path is unfolding in front of us and we just have to literally take those steps. But what happens most of the time is our intuition speaks to us and then our logic and our ego steps in and says, well, wait a minute, no, you shouldn't do that yet. You need to plan, you need to prepare, you need to think about it, you need to ask other people. And all of that stops us from executing on that idea. Now, of course, if you get an idea, you'll probably want to mind map it. You might want to journal on it. You might want to go online and look for inspiration for it. But we often then fall down into a path of complete procrastination, and it disguises itself in so many ways. For me, I like to research things. I like to look over and over and over and get lots of different ideas for that idea. And before I might plan it out and then I might redraft it and then I might look at it some more. And all of that stuff stops me from actually taking the action. And that's all I need to do, take the action. So what sometimes feels comfortable and feels like we're working towards something is actually the thing that's holding us back. We get our journals out and we think, oh, I'll just plan it out, or I'll just have another look online, or I'll watch one more YouTube video on it. And all of those things are just preventing us from taking the action until we get to the point where we're no longer inspired by the idea and the moment has passed and we've not been able to bring that idea to life. Everything that I teach is based around the law of assumption, and that is that your thoughts are creating your reality. But the fastest way to bring those thoughts into the 3D and make them a real part of your life is to take action that's aligned with it. So that means that you get crystal clear on your vision, you get really attached to it and it feels expansive and it lights you up. And then you listen to your intuitive guidance and you take the action that it is telling you to do. You don't sit and wait for it to land on your lap. You take those action steps that are being put in front of you that might not make logical sense, but they are leading you to what you desire. Embodiment is the part of the law of assumption process where everybody sees the most shifts, because the second that you step into that energy and you start showing up right now as the version of you who already has something, that is when your 3D will shift around you to make that a 3D truth. You don't manifest something by continuously going back and revising it and redrafting it and changing it and perfecting it. You manifest something by having the idea, embodying that version of you and taking those messy actions, and they will be messy, and that's absolutely fine. It does not need to be perfect. You do not need to put something perfect out into the world. Create it first and then make it good. Just put it out there as it is and then go back using the feedback that you receive to refine it and make it better and better and better. But the most important thing is that you actually put it out there. So if you've had the idea to record your first YouTube video, if you've had the idea to start a podcast, to paint a picture, to make something, to change your job, to build a career, to do anything at all that is inspired and feels exciting and aligned, please take that step. Don't just keep thinking about it, because if you just keep thinking about it, you're not acting from the vision, you're thinking of the vision, and there's a big difference between the two. So sometimes something that's misinterpreted with the law of assumption, when we say that thoughts create reality, is that you can just think about your vision, sit there with your vision board and your eyes closed and think, oh, that'd be lovely, and then go back to living as this version of you. The vision board part is really important, and it's definitely going to be helpful, but nobody's ever won a race without first starting to run. The way that I like to think about it is those escalators in the airport where you step on and it carries you all the way forward, and you're going 5-10 times as fast as you would if you were just walking normally, but you still have to step on the escalator in order to move forward. You can't just sit there thinking, oh, that's a nice idea, or oh, that's a nice vision, and expect it to come into your 3D reality. You've got to take that first step. A good visual way to think about what ideas are is thinking about bubbles. So if you saw a bubble, you get the opportunity as it's floating past you to pop it. But if you leave it and you don't pop it, either somebody else will do, or it will just burst on its own, and then it no longer exists, it isn't there, it's not exciting, it's not aligned, it's gone. So when you see that bubble floating past, when you have that idea, pop it there and then, execute on it immediately, even if it's super messy. You'll be able to watch yourself do this week. After you've watched this video, you'll become more aware of when you are doing this. You'll get an idea and then you'll think, oh, I'll do it later. And it might seem logical, but what that is your mind trying to keep you safe, because it doesn't know how to do that. It's something new. It's something outside of your comfort zone. So it's coming up with ways in which to keep you from doing it. And first of all, those sound completely neutral, completely friendly. They'll be like, oh, I'll do that later. You've got more time later. You just need a nap first. Or why don't you just sort that out first and then you can come back to that? Or, oh, that's a really good idea. Why don't you plan it out and then we'll do it later on. We'll do it next week. And then eventually, the closer that you get to starting to take the action, the more resistance you will experience, because you're doing something new that's outside of your comfort zone. And your mind doesn't like that, because its job is to keep you safe. So at that point, when you push through those initial excuses and reasons why you can't do it now, that voice will start to get louder and say, whoa, hang on a minute, if you're posting that first YouTube video, what's everybody going to think about you at work? Like, everybody's going to be screenshotting you and sending it to each other, and they'll be laughing, and, oh, what if nobody views it? Or what if this happens? Or what if that happens? It's going to start placing fear in your mind in order to prevent you from moving to that next step. And in that moment, you need to acknowledge that and say, no, thank you. Thank you for trying to look after me, but I'm doing this anyway, because I know that this action is coming from my intuition and it is taking me to where I'm going. There's no threat to my life. I'm completely safe. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm just going to take this action, even though it's going to be messy right now. Thinking a new thought repeatedly and taking action towards that new identity is the fastest way that you can rewire your subconscious mind. It's better than any visualization. It's better than any set of long affirmations. Think the new thought and take an action that proves to your subconscious mind that this is who you're becoming. Because although your subconscious mind is so powerful, it's not intelligent. It doesn't have any knowledge of its own. It only has the ability to protect you and keep you in the programming that has been currently installed in you. But you can change the programming, and you do that through repetition and taking those inspired actions that match that identity. And you do it quickly by executing on those ideas immediately. I have experienced this myself this week. I've decided that I really want to become a full-time YouTuber. I want to create content that is so valuable for people. I want to get monetized on my channel. I want to get to 100k followers. And I had this inspired idea, and I was excited and I was lit up about it. And I thought, yes, this is what I want to do. And then my mind starts to come in and say, you're not going to be able to do that. You're too flaky. What if you say that you're going to do something in front of all those people and then you don't do it? What if you go back on your word and they're not going to take you seriously? And what if? All of these ideas come into my mind to stop me from taking action on that inspired idea that I'd had. And I've had to push through that in order to start these videos and really move towards my goal, because I know that there is nothing holding me back except for myself, and that is exactly the same for you. Get into the habit of doing things immediately and not minding if they are a failure, because a failure is just feedback. And when you use a failure and you think, okay, what went wrong there, or what could be better, and you implement that in your next repetition of that action, you will make progress. That is what progress is. It's so important that you are not put off by the idea of failure. Every single person who is successful in anything, doesn't matter what that success looks like to that person, they have failed more times than anybody else has even tried. And that is the difference between successful people and people who don't make it, who don't get to live out their vision. That is the only difference between the two. They're not more talented. They don't have anything more special than you. They just have the resilience to take messy action and learn from the feedback when it doesn't go quite as you expected. Every time that you have an idea and you let that bubble float past you without popping it, you're reinforcing the identity that you can't trust yourself, that you're not meant for an expansive life, that you can't follow your intuition and that you need to rely on logic. That is going to keep you stuck in the same place week after week, month after month, year after year. You have to break the cycle by having the idea and taking action. Execute immediately. Imagine how far ahead you could get in your business, in your relationship, in your health, if you had an idea that felt inspired, that came out of nowhere, that bubble that floated past you, and you popped it immediately. You went and did it, and you didn't make all those excuses, and you didn't let your subconscious mind come in with all those fears that are actually never going to happen, and you just took the action regardless. Imagine what your life would look like 12 months from now. So what I'd like you to take away from this video today is putting that into place, is actually noticing when you have an idea and making your very, very best effort to execute on it immediately, or as close to immediately as possible. Don't think about things, don't listen to other people's opinions. Have the idea, take the action, and come back to me next week and tell me in the comments how that has affected you positively, because I know for a fact that you are going to feel so much more accomplished. You're going to be so much further along than if you allow yourself to continue to be controlled by logic. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you have, please remember to come and subscribe. I would love to hear your feedback, and thank you so much for watching.